Hey guys, this is Chris. I've got another episode here. So I have a 1980 Volvo 242. It is a factory K-Jet car, and I'm just going to go over, kind of what to look for whenever your K-Jet car is not running, and what some of the components are, what K-Jet is, and whether or not it's a easier route to go to electronic fuel injection like LH 2.2 rather than trying to save the mechanical fuel injection. Yeah, let's take a look here. So this is the car in question. It is, not great condition. It's a 1980, and it's just something I've been hanging on to. I'm not sure exactly what to do with it, so I wanted to make sure it ran. However, so let's take a look at this here. Whenever you're looking at a old B21 motor, you can tell the difference because for one, the valve covers are different. There's not a raised section. I guess on the turbo B21 FTs there is, but you have this kind of a flat lip where the oil cap goes. And also the most prominent thing, and this is an NA K-Jet car, so non-turbo. The most prominent thing is this giant intake plenum. It kind of scoops up, and it's right above where the injection stuff is. So the first thing you do whenever you have a K-Jet car that isn't running is you want to get underneath there and remove the throttle spool here so you can get a better look at what's going on down here. So this is what was taken out of here. So this is a just this giant intake boot, and it connects the plenum to the air flow meter that's connected to the fuel distributor underneath. So I've taken this out, and this is the boot has torn. These are hard to come by, so that's going to be a mark against keeping it factory K-Jet. All right, so what we have here is this is the air flow meter. It's connected to the fuel distributor, which is right there. In order for the injectors to fire, which you have the 4 injectors up top, they're connected to the fuel lines here. In order for it to fire, what happens is when you crank the engine, it's going to start pulling vacuum. So it pulls vacuum from the air box into this tube and up through here, and this plate is supposed to lift. So right now it does not lift. You can push it down and it'll hit the stop, but I cannot get it to lift up. What that means is because the plate does not lift up, the armature, when it lifts up, it moves an armature that's connected to the fuel distributor right there, and that creates or lets the fuel distributor know that it's supposed to spray fuel into the cylinders. If this can't lift, the fuel distributor has no signal to spray fuel, and therefore will not turn the car on. So what you'll have to do is take out this whole unit and clean off the shaft in which the armature will slide, and I'll get into that later. But so for now, that's the reason why this car is not running. The fuel distributor is pretty much locked up here. Okay, so as it stands, the car is not running. The K-Jet fuel distributor is not distributing fuel. So that's going to be the first thing you want to check, is whether or not that particular unit is frozen up. And out of the several K-Jet cars that I have owned, that is usually the #1 problem. The thing about K-Jet is it does need to be driven. If it doesn't, the residue from the fuel, and just like it gums up a lot of the working components. And on that fuel distributor especially, it's really important. It's because once it gums up, you're going to have to take it apart to actually clean it and fix it. But just regular driving will actually keep that moving and prevent it from seizing up. So right now, it is seized up, unfortunately, like most of the kjet cars I've come across. And so we have to decide whether or not to replace it, to clean it out, or to convert to electronic fuel injection. So there's a couple of things to keep in mind if you are debating an LH conversion. One of the things is, what are the goals for the car? If you want to keep it factory, have it the way it came, you probably want to keep it kjet. If you want to just keep it running, if it's the kind of car that you're going to want to just drive every now and then and be able to park it, I think LH conversion is probably going to be the best bet. Other things to keep in mind is your access to replacement parts. kjet isn't really something that you can just find laying around. A lot of the replacement parts are rare and expensive. LH stuff, even LH stuff is, they stopped making it in the 80s. So replacement parts there are still hard to find, but easier to find online and in the junkyard as well. So this car is not already, right off the bat, is not factory. It's not something that's going to be in a museum or anything like that. It is a pretty neat car. It's a M45 4-speed manual. It's got, let's see here, it's got the flat hood and round headlights. So yeah, it's a cool car, but it does have a significant level of rust on it. One of the reasons why it's kind of been on the back burner. I'm not sure what we want to do with it just yet. However, that being said, it would be a fantastic candidate for LH, electronic fuel injection conversion. One of the reasons being is that it is a manual car. Manual cars aren't going to require a replacement for the kickdown cable, so that right there takes off a lot of work. If you do need to replace the kickdown cable on a automatic car if you convert to an LH, as the kjet kickdown cable will be too short. So that means you'd have to drop the transmission pan and get under there. And another thing about this car is it has this awesome breakerless ignition. It's pretty solid, and it's just something, if you were to convert to LH and you happen to have a Chrysler ignition car, there are some problems and additional wiring that goes along with that. So this simplifies this a little bit, and it helps make the decision a little bit easier. So let's just go through and see what else the car might need. Before we start gathering all our LH stuff, let's see if it does have the other components necessary for the car to run. I bought the car in non-running condition, so we want to make sure there aren't some other underlying problems, that along with the kjet. I'm a little short-handed today, so I have my little helper here to help, see if all the other components are there to get the car running. But safety first, right? You want to get your goggles on? All right, let's go. First things first, like I said, the breakerless ignition is pretty reliable, but we do still want to make sure that the spark is present. So I'm going to go ahead and check on that, and that's easy. First thing you're going to want to do is just pull the lead cable that comes to the coil, and we'll check on that here momentarily. It is a mess in here. I promise I'll clean it out. I've just been sitting on the car for a while. So you want to make sure you put the car in neutral before you try cranking it up. All right. You tell me if sparks come out, okay?
Okay. The sparks over there, right?
That's right.
There's spark. There's spark.
There's spark?
Yeah.
Okay. What? You want one?
Yeah.
What do you want?
Ice cream.
All right, go up there. Which one do you want? So now we want to figure out if there is fuel going to the, if the pumps are actually working. So here's our fuse box here. So we've got 5 is actually where the fuel pumps go. So let's go ahead and take off number 5. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, we'll take that off. I've got my trusty alligator clips here. So I'm gonna attach one end over to 7. That's a hot wire, and the other end we're gonna go ahead and all right, hang on, I just need you to check on something. The other end we're gonna attach to either side of this fuse holder. I think the right side should be your in-tank pump and your left side should be your main pump.
You could also tell that I'm also eating ice cream.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and open up the fuel filler hole. Make sure there's no weird spiders or wasps in there. And I'll have my kiddo come here and listen for in-tank fuel function.
If it's dripping, you just lick it. I heard it. I heard it.
You heard it? Okay. How's it sound?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably. The next fuel pump, this is a 2-pump system. The next one's right here at this cradle. We're gonna go ahead and check for that function as well using the same method. I heard it.
I hear it. It was kind of quiet.
Okay, but it's working though.
That's what it sounds like.
Oh no, you're dripping. So the tests tell us that there's spark, meaning that the ignition system is working fine. It's just the fuel system that is an issue. As far as fuel delivery, both pumps are running. And I did actually check it aside from just the hearing test. The in-tank pump I have replaced. It's got a new strainer and I've redone the wiring on that as well. And the main pump is a used unit, but I think it should be pushing. So we have working fuel pumps and we have spark. The only thing is the injection system's not working. And also we want to make sure that the timing belt is intact. When I was cranking earlier, you can actually see that there's the timing belt was spinning. So that means that the crank and the cam are aligned. You know, last thing is just to check for compression. That's something that we can always check on later. But it does have the main components. I'm going to go ahead and reattach this coil wire. So it's got the main components. It's got a charged battery as well. Only thing is that the fuel is not getting into the cylinders. That about wraps it up. thanks for watching again. You know, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and like the video, and you know, I'll bring the updates for this car next time.